stoic MC Kid Frost. Yo soy jefe, patrón, it's the big boss. My cuenta's loaded, it's full of balas. I put it in your face and you won't say nada.
The Black Berets was a membership organization that was made up of youth all throughout the city of Albuquerque. It was a Chicano youth organization.
So I got into the organization probably in 1968. I felt I was a part of something. I felt now that I was not out there in the open, getting ready to either get into drugs or to end up in prison, but that I could be involved with a group of youth who actually cared about me, cared about the community at large, and was willing to stand up for what was right. I got a lot of strength in with that, and that has kept with me up to this point of my life.
I was a nursing student in the late 60s, early 70s, and I had heard about the clinic. I was told about the clinic, and I wanted to go down and visit and see what was going on, and plus do some volunteer work down there.
For example, we opened up the first health clinic that was community run and managed, the Bobby Garcia Memorial Clinic, to provide health services. That clinic was located in the South Valley of Albuquerque.
I began to see, that what the Berets were doing was making sure that everyone in the community had respect and could access the health care they needed. And it was a matter of social justice and human dignity.
When we're discussing the history of the Black Berets, it's important for us to understand what the political climate was like in the city and in the state. So one of the primary premises of the founding of our organization and the issues and the goals that we set out one of them was very crucial to self-determination, both from a political standpoint, an economic standpoint, and a social standpoint. In those times, in the 60s and the 70s, there was a lot of organizations that wore brown berets, and many of us wore brown berets. We were a part of the Chicano youth movement. We were part of the Chicano movement in a broader context. But at the same time, it was decided by our leadership that to honor Ernesto Che Guevara, we would be, one, the Black Beret organization, and two, we would wear black berets.
He was very easy to identify as a person who was working for all poor communities throughout the world, specifically Cuba. But it was really encouraging to see that there was somebody who would stand out in a big way for the communities. And so it was easy to accept that and to use that beret as a way of us putting our message out.
The questions around education and what young people were being taught or what they weren't being taught in terms of their history and culture.
Learning about yourself as a person, but also being able to empower yourself to ask the questions that you need to for yourself, for your family, and for your community.
The school systems weren't providing that for me and for a lot of Chicanos and Chicanas. They were just pretty much preparing us to go into the military and to prisons, basically. They were not giving us any direction. At least the Black Berets gave me the direction that if we were all to get together, then we could possibly start making some changes.
One of the goals around the police repression was that we set up community patrols that were asked by community members to come in, ask the police departments to stay out of the communities, that the Black Berets would patrol the communities and interact with the people in those neighborhoods in a much more just way. Our goals was, as I said, around self-determination, and it was to empower ourselves as community people, as young people and as others, to speak for ourselves, to become speakers, both in the social, political, and economic fields within our communities and educational institutions and so on.
I saw with the Black Berets how they were dedicated to the community and to the lives of people and to the dignity of people, and how you're empowered, but how you're not afraid and how you're proud to be able to do that. No matter whether people call you radical or what they say about you, you're proud to stand up and defend your community, and you're proud to be part of that community.
Well, for example, in the Roosevelt riots, it was a hot summer, there was a lot of tensions, there was a lot of police brutality, and the youth had gone together in the park and really got to a point where they were just being harassed, and eventually just the whole thing started to unleash. So we went down there and we managed to put our folks in and around those that were at the park trying to settle things down. And so what we thought we would do is we would go up, talk to the police and say, look, this is gonna get nasty. We should try to work together and see how we can deal with this. As we started walking up the hill towards where the police were, they opened fire on us. Opened fire on the whole park. They didn't want to talk. They didn't want to save things. What they wanted to do was just to flex their muscles, show their strength, and that they were just gonna open up on us. So we all started running. It could have been worse had we not been there. There could have possibly been more killings.
Esos barrios de Albuquerque, llenos de historias están, de mujeres y hombres valientes que luchan por su comunidad. Esta es la historia, señores, que aquí les vengo a cantar.